Aaron Donald isn't going, do I go left or go right? He's just doing it, right? He doesn't even think twice about it. And that's a powerful place to be as a top performer.
Yeah.
How much time should I spend in the intentional, mindful part of my day and not reacting? And there's just so many distractions, right? And we've got it coming from everywhere, ops and texts and emails, and owner wants to do a meeting. And, where we landed is that you really need to have a very specific regimen and a very specific amount of time to grow your business and to build your skill set. And I think that's often overlooked, that simple element of how many years has Aaron Donald spent building his career and learning how to play football and getting past offensive linemen, right?
Yeah.
So
you could zero in on how did he perform in those last 15 minutes of a particular game. But the reality is the performance we saw on the field was built, that the ability to perform at that level on the field was built in all of the hours of consistent practice, consistent development, feedback from mentors. I think you and I both know I believe the average NFL team carries about 18 coaches. Maybe it's upwards of 24. It's somewhere in that range. And so those people at that level are getting all kinds of constant feedback on every nuanced aspect of how they perform. And maybe to the point, maybe to a greater detail than most people could handle, but not getting any coaching over an extended period of time, a day, a week, a month, a quarter, a year, there's got to be some regularity, some feedback loop. So, I love the mentoring. I love the, now I'm spacing on the word, mastermind.
Yeah,
right?
mastermind concept.
The mastermind group. And I think, you and I have seen that anytime we gather a group of people together, they're getting as much from each other as they are from us. I'm certain of that. And it's what I see is it's a reprioritization of what's important. And in the busyness of life and in the inundated amount of text, email, other messages that we get, being overly attached to your social media feed, the things that we initially set out to as priorities lose priority. Mm-hmm. And if you can reprioritize, and it was funny, I ran a program earlier today in the Visage community where a number of the members cited, these are some things that I know about. I have lost sight of them. I used to do them.
Hear that a lot.
And I need to get back to whatever it was, right?
Yeah, well, I love what you shared about football. I think we drive people crazy with our sports analogies because not everybody's a football or sports fan. But I read recently that an NFL football game only has actually 13 to 14 minutes of live time of actual play time in a game. So think of how much players prepare for that. There's 40 hours a week, and there's probably 5 hours of film. There's 20 hours in the gym. There's 10 hours on the play. There's memorizing the playbook. There's kind of working through all the things, and how much effort and time is put together for that 13 minutes that you really jump on the field and make it happen. And you're ingraining those habits and those reactions. So they're in flow. And I heard this great talk about how when we're intentional and mindful, that we have access to 20 bits of information per second. Right. And that's a great spot to be because we're living intentional and proactive. But if we can get that ingrained into our subconscious, we now get into a state called flow. When we're in flow, it's 20 million bytes of information. So it's a whole nother level. Aaron Donald isn't going, do I go left or go right? He's just doing it. Right. He doesn't even think twice about it. And that's a powerful place to be as a top performer.
Yeah. Developing the muscle memory. And I would say there is probably a real parallel there for the average salesperson in front of a customer for whatever you're doing during your 40-ish hour week. How much time do you get where you are influential with the customer? and in an entire 40-hour week, you may only have, 14, 15 minutes of influence.
Yeah.
When you come right down to it, and even if you had 10 sales calls, it may be a minute and a half of influence in each one of those sales calls, where you had a window of opportunity to influence the customer in the right direction, and not prepared, that we've all squandered those moments.